Hello again.
Oh, hello.
Hiya.
Hey, we're on the bubbles again. This is nice, isn't it?
Do you like a cheeky bubble on an evening?
A weekday bubble.
Yeah, there's something nice about it.
And this is a soft bubble.
Yeah,
I like a
it's
soft
nice,
bubble.
less gassy.
Yeah, oh, can't stand a gassy bubble. Too much heartburn.
good.
We're too old now.
I know, right? Showing our age, well, that is a conversation for another day. But today, I love this conversation because I feel like it leads really nicely on from a conversation that we've had before. So we have spoken quite openly about the challenges of making friends as you sort of grow up, you become an adult, you sort of move away. But we haven't spoken about the impact of losing friends. So some of those friends that you had growing up, or some of those friends that you met and you thought they'd be with you forever, and then they're not.
Seasoned friends.
Seasoned friends, friends for the moment.
That's it. And I totally embrace the fact that there's different friends in your life that will come in and they will, you know, they'll do their thing and they'll be there for you in that moment, and then they kind of move on to their own lives. And I totally respect that. But there are certain people, like you say, who you think are going to be there forever, and then, you know, the next moment they're not. And how do you deal with that?
And that's really difficult, because when you're going through these sort of like periods of change where you think, oh God, that's been a really rough time, I've now got this friend I can lean on. They're there for a couple of years through that short period of time, and then they're gone again. And then you think, oh God, like, what happened? What did I do? Is it me? Is it them? Is it this situation that we're in? And then somebody else pops up and they're perfect for that moment in time. Do you know what I mean? And these people come and go.
And I think it's allowing yourself to be sad for that breakup or that disappearance or that evolution or whatever it is, you know, that moment. And whether it is that someone moves away or something happens where there's a life change, they get married or they have a baby or they get a job abroad or whatever it is, that's absolutely, you know, it's not something to judge someone on, but it's sort of validating your sadness, that's okay to be sad that that change has happened and you wished it hadn't, but it has. And, you know, how do you manage that emotional kind of roller coaster that comes with it?
And that is what it is, an emotional roller coaster. And I think you can look like from the inside and from the outside of this, but I've certainly sort of been looking on, you know, where say you've been friends with somebody for a long time and somebody new rocks into their life and they're obsessed with each other like really quickly, like it happens very fast, they're in each other's pockets, they're doing everything together, and you're like the long-standing friend looking on from a distance, like just observing this new friendship, like thinking, oh well, that's a little bit bizarre. Then I've been there as well where, I don't know, you start a new job or you get involved in a new like social activity and all of a sudden you're totally involved in somebody's life. You and I.
Yeah, we're quite like that.
But you're like so very quickly you're like entwined with this person, and all of your other friends are looking on thinking, who's this girl?
Who's this?
Who is this girl? And I definitely can like see how that happens as well. But it's so funny, like being on both sides of the fence.
Yeah, and I think as we grow older, it's such a weird thing because we talked about it kind of in that episode where we were saying about making friends, about when you're younger, you naturally fall into situations and circles where the friendships will naturally come because you're kind of thrown together in classes, clubs, schools, like mates of mates, house parties, like you'll become friends, right? And it's the same with this where, you know, lives, we're not all stuck together. So we will come and go. We will come into these environments where there'll be suddenly new people that completely excite us and then other people that kind of will come in, drop in and then just disappear.
But then it's almost like you feel in the nicest possible way, but like needy for that friend. Like somebody comes in and they tick a few boxes and then like you're longing for it. Like it's a bit like the excitement of a new relationship, right? It is. This person's like filling that hole. They're giving you something that you're not getting elsewhere, and it's addictive.
But I think a platonic relationship is just as strong as a personal, you know, like a relationship with a partner. Like, I really feel, you know, one of the things that I truly believe is that, you know, friendships have absolutely got a place on the same level as family.
Oh, it's so
you
much.
have to have your friends
Yeah.
around you, and friends who celebrate you when you're not there.
Yeah.
You know, big you up when you're feeling down, give you the harsh truth as well.
So many of the things
You know?
that actually, you know, when you're thinking about it in terms of like a life partner or a sexual partner or whatever, maybe things that they're not giving you. Like, it's satisfying you in a different way.
They're filling those gaps where, you know, someone who isn't with you all the time, like a life partner, like you're saying, like, you know, that person that you want to spend your life with, you know, you need an outlet for that relationship. You need someone.
Yeah, you do.
Right? Yeah, of course you do.
You need somebody to, like, not like, well, moan about or moan to about that person.
Why can't, this is where, again, with relationships, I mean, Lawrence and I are fully aware that we rant about each other with friends. Like, I saying to him, go and talk to someone else because I don't want to hear it.
We do that too. I'm forever saying, you would feel, to Rory, you'd feel better about this situation right now if you just spoke to somebody about it, because, you know, we're digressing already so early on, but this conversation's so broad. But, you know, I feel so much better about sometimes our situations at home because I can chat about them to other people.
Yeah, and finding those people that you feel safe admitting things to.
Yeah, and they're not going to judge the partner as well.
Exactly.
It's fair, like,
it's their relationship, it's not mine, and I'm going to be team you.
Yeah, well, always. But, you know, often if a friend of mine is talking about their partner, I will give them a balanced view as well. Because as much as I will, you know, always be team you, I do try to help people rationalise a little bit.
But I think that's the way a friend should act, is being respectful of the partnership that you've chosen.
On the fence.
Slightly leaning towards you.
Like, so it's not awkward when you then see that person next week at the family barbecue or whatever, you know, like...
That is true. But those people, like, you know, just to bring it back round, you know, those people that you have that you really feel that you have had that with, and then poof, they're gone.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with that?
Yeah, it's hard. So tell me, do you think it's been harder losing friends maybe as a child, teenager, young adult, or losing friends as a fully fledged, like, grown-up person?
Absolutely, 100% an adult.
Okay, interesting.
It's been more painful. It's been like a breakup. It's been like a long-term relationship, full-blown breakup. That emotional roller coaster that you go through where you genuinely feel physical pain because you're so heartbroken.
Do you think an adult friendship breakup has the same sort of effect then as a breakup when you are younger?
I think there's different sides to it, isn't it? And I don't know, you know, with your experiences, but from my personal experience, when I was younger, I kind of just was able to kind of dust myself off and kind of, you know, obviously you'll feel hurt and there's obviously things that you'll do when you're younger that probably you wouldn't do now. But, you know, I was pissed off. I would be upset, but then I just get on and find new people and I kind of just get on. And maybe that's the way I dealt with it. But now there's two particular people in my life who I've sort of separated from, and it wasn't like a purposeful separate, it was literally a ghosting
on their side,
because I'm annoying. I'm an annoying friend. I'm the one that will message you going, Erin, I know you're busy, I just want to tell you I love you.
I must be more annoying than you then, because I feel like I'm worse for that.
So this is where I think you and I are, like, honestly, besties for life.
Just hype each other all the time.
But that's what I mean. It's like the non-judgment. It's the fact that we're both busy mums and we sometimes reply and sometimes we don't. And then sometimes we'll just have a barrage of, like, multiple messages. Yeah. There'll be a mix of GIFs. There'll be some voice messages.
When you do that reply to a message from like 10 messages ago, like, it's like, that's how much I'm trying to catch up right now.
Yeah. So there's things like that. But there's, I think there is something in when someone suddenly disappears. Like you were saying about that person who's always there and the one that you want to tell the second person after the one that you want to tell good news to. Because obviously when you find that life partner that you want to tell the good news to straight away, that's who you want to tell them straight away. But who's the second person? Who's the third person? Those people are your people.
Yeah. So I feel like I've got like a couple of different like experiences of this. So I feel like I've got things from when I was like really young, actually, like 7, 8, 9 years old, being in, primary school, having like a girl group, so like 3 of us. And then, you know what it's like when you're a child and like 2 people separate and then you're like isolated. And I feel like that loss of friendship or, that sort of like breakdown of communication or just being young really affected me in a lot of ways in terms of, maybe led to me wanting to people please, like fear of being alone, fear of like doing something that would make somebody not like me, like all of those things that I can really see now as an adult, like traits that I have. And then on the flip side, like as an adult, like friends that I've maybe made, and I said this word, like when you make a friend at work and you're so very quickly in each other's pockets, like you're copying each other, and then with like a blink of an eye or a change of desk, or one person's been posted on this site, one person posted on that site, like you just don't speak again. It's like, my God, we literally lived with each other for, not literally, but almost literally, for X amount of time. And now you're a total stranger. It's bizarre.
It is really alien, isn't it? And how you deal with that is so different, I think, depending on the journey, the circumstance, the experience. It's never really the same, is it? And I'm really interested. So with you saying that obviously things have happened when you were younger,
yes,
and that you now recognize things that have come from that, is there anything that you do now with your friendships that not protect you or like, you use as armor or anything? Or is there anything now that you maybe wished you didn't do, or things that you are glad you do?
So that is a funny one, because I feel like if I was to ask, say, somebody like you or somebody else, they would see it only as a positive. But for me, I feel this trait I have is, I don't know, detrimental to myself.
Okay.
So, I'm forever messaging people, like checking in, always trying to like keep the spark alive, making sure people are still there. Does this person still want to be my friend? Like seeking that validation, like that fear of loss. Like, and I feel like that comes from not having strong, solid, like trusted friendships as a child, where I always felt like I could be dropped. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. So that has led me to being this adult who, maybe doesn't hold strong enough boundaries with people, will let people get away with things. Like, I will always be there. I'll, check in almost for my own benefit rather than theirs. So as an example, like I'll check in on you to see how you are, but really I'm checking on you to see if you reply, to see if I'm still relevant.
Like a validation of your worthiness in like my life and yours.
Yes. And saying that out loud is so weird, because it's really hard to articulate that, because in no way does that devalue me messaging you, for example, to see how you are. But subconsciously, I'm probably doing it to see if you reply and you still care how I feel.
That's in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I want to give you like a massive hug.
I'm so
and again, because obviously, like the listeners know, like you and I are kind of pretty new friends.
Yeah.
And oh my God, you're going to totally regret in 5 years' time, because you're not really there. I'm like you. I'm very like you. I will message my friends and go, don't need to reply. Just want you to know I love you.
Yeah.
I'm very much like that. I will send them entertaining messages and just saying, hey girl, how's it going? Miss you. I know you're not going to reply because you're far too busy with your fabulous life. But again, it's that whole thing of sort of enabling yourself to be validated.
Yeah.
You're kind of validating yourself, aren't you?
But that is what
difficult.
it is. And I don't do that with everyone. And that doesn't mean I don't value those people or value those friendships. But I think there is certain people that are in your life that you want to
I agree.
keep there.
There's certain people. So this is a really interesting thing, and I don't know whether I should what other term can I use? Because there's a term I don't want to use because it may mean that this episode flips into explicit content.
We don't mind some explicit. I don't mind that big E next to his title.
All right, so maybe I'll say it then. Okay, so years back when, and I've got a very, very, very good old friend who's been a besie of mine for a very, very long time, and he uses the term "your dead prostitute friends."
Okay, you have to explain that because that means nothing.
So your dead prostitute friends are those friends that if you woke up in a hotel room next to a dead prostitute, who would you trust enough to call?
Fine, okay.
So those friends who just go, right, let's get the fake passports, let's get the money, let's go. Like, where are we going?
Run.
I'm with you. Let's get rid of the body, let's do it. You know, those kind of people who are just, they don't judge you. They are just here for you. They are your cheerleaders, but they're also here for the darkness. They're here for the light. They're here for everything. Those kind of people are the people everyone needs. Now, you don't have to have 50 of them. You don't have to have 5 of them. You can have 1 of them. But having someone, like you're saying about this like lost thing, it's like having someone you can rely on and trust and just be your full self with, that unashamedly you, and they don't care. Do you know, that's the power that comes from friendships. And I think that's what I had particularly in these 2 instances where I've lost people. I had what I thought in them. And from that has triggered what you're saying about the messaging people just for checking in. You are going to message me back, right?
So, yeah, well, that you are. I'm still your friend. So, in those friendships you're talking about, what was the catalyst then of the breakdown of that friendship, or what was it?
It's interesting because I don't know their side of the story.
It was just a
ghosting. It was like they're gone. And I have struggled for years. I mean, one of them is maybe a good 10 years now, and the other one's about 5-6 years. And I have struggled over the last sort of decade trying to psychoanalyze the situation, what did I do? What happened? Where did I say something? Did I do something?
Was it a natural drifting?
It was just generally like you're WhatsApping them, you're messaging them going, hey, are you around? What are you doing now? And no reply, no response, nothing. You know,
so strange, isn't it? Because
really strange.
There's one friend I have, like a school friend, and actually the sort of friend now that I'm sure if I saw her, it would be like picking up as if nothing had changed. Like we could go back 15 years and it'd be exactly the same. But we were, you know, whatever female duo you could think of, like Batman, Robin, whatever.
Love it.
Like we were brilliant and it was amazing. And I do feel like that with her now, but life come between us, distance come between us. We moved apart. And for me, I think a lot of the friendships that I maybe wish I had now, which I don't, or I do still have, but they're not the same. It's more that I'm like longing for what they were rather than I've lost them. Whereas yours to me now sound like you've lost them entirely. Like
they haven't.
Speak.
Yeah, that we don't speak at like. I mean, one of them has unfriended me on all socials.
That's we've spoken about socials already, but using socials as a weapon in this friendship breakdown thing, unfollow, block, whatever, that is like
it's heartbreaking.
Heart.
It is. It's absolutely traumatizing. And you know, it's really interesting. I didn't realize how emotional I was going to get about this, but it's really something that maybe I haven't spoken to at this level about. And you kind of push half of it under the carpet because you're like, I'm an adult. I don't, why should I be this emotional about it? But really, it broke my heart that they did that, and I genuinely didn't understand, and it was really confusing. And I don't want to go into detail because if they did ever hear this, I don't want them to sort of think that I'm nitpicking, because again, I want to make it very clear I don't know their side of the story.
Yeah.
So again, I don't judge them. If they came back into my life, a bit like what you're saying about your friend who's kind of like, you know, different lifestyles, do you know what? I would welcome them back if we could have an open conversation and just say, like, look, what's in the past is in the past, but please know you really hurt me. Like, it really hurt.
Do you feel not knowing what caused that relationship breakdown is damaging for you?
Absolutely. Because like you're saying about that message, you're messaging for your own validation. It's almost like that fight or flight. Like you're in this mode of, are you going to go? Are you going to leave me? I really like our relationship. You're not going to go, right? You're really in that fear zone, and
I live in that fear zone.
But that's unfair. You know, nobody deserves to live there.
That is through just life experiences. I've got a good thing. Is it going to go away?
And I mean, I suppose, like you say, you could put that in a lot of different circumstances, couldn't you? But no, I think the biggest one was this relationship I had with this guy he was a gay guy, so it wasn't sexual, it wasn't anything like flirty, it was purely platonic love. He was literally like my big bro, and we did so much together. We were the hostesses with the mostesses. Like, we'd put on these amazing parties, we would host. He was just fabulous, and he's a wonderful guy. He had a wonderful heart, and I genuinely feel so heartbroken that we're not friends anymore, because there's so many things that have happened since he's gone, that I wished he could have shared that journey with me. Now, at the same time, he's obviously got his own journey, and I respect that. It's just difficult for me. It's really, really hard to know that he's not in my life.
You imagined that your life would be together, I guess.
And he's made a choice, and I respect his choice. And again, if he came back into my life, oh my God, I'd welcome him back. And it's just one of those things that I know that people have their own journeys. How do you accept someone else's journey that doesn't include you when you so want to be included?
Yeah, and that's and do you know what? Funnily, and I think this is a journey that our children will go on, is when they so desperately want to be friends with somebody who doesn't want to be friends with them, or they don't see the friendship in the same way for it to become the same problem.
Yeah.
And we get this a lot if we've got, family friends that have slightly older children, and, the children obsess about children that are older than them.
Yeah.
Right. But the older children don't look at the younger children in that way. So they sort of shrug them off, or they play with them then and there, but then they're not interested anymore. How do we give that message that not everyone's going to be friends with you, and that's okay?
And it'll happen with the siblings as well. So obviously Freddie and Max. Sophia's got 2 older brothers and a sister, and they're very much in that sort of preteen upwards stage where they've got their own priorities, and fair enough, absolutely, they've got their own things that they like, and Sophia doesn't necessarily fit into those boxes, and she will drive them nuts, and that's okay for her to drive them nuts. And I think it's trying to balance, like you say, the expectation. Because from birth to now, they're adored, aren't they?
Yeah.
Toddlers, we're all there to support them, be positive, be kind, be generous. They always get the toys. You're like, no, she's only little, give her the toy.
Yeah.
Now they're finding out the harsh truth.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard, and it always will be hard. And it's something, as a parent, we do it quite well, I think. I say that.
We do something
we
well.
do something.
I'll take that. If you think we do something
well, we do something, that's for sure. But, we've had it where, we've been around the table after dinner when we've had dinner together, or lunch or whatever, and we've all got together, and the kids are bickering or whatever, and we'll just kind of be like, let them sort it.
Yeah, they've just got to work it out for themselves.
They've really got to work it out, and it's difficult because you cannot save them at every single point. They have to learn those difficult lessons, and it's enabling them to feel safe to talk to you about it. And and again, I know we've massively digressed here, but, for children, I think it is very, very difficult to understand and justify because they don't have the emotional and psychological capacity to understand, okay, that person made a choice and that was their choice and I respect that.
And that's the thing, and last thing on children, because this definitely isn't a conversation about children, but when like Sophia comes home or one of the boys comes home and they're speaking about these friendship issues, how do you navigate that with them? Because we get that a lot is, this person's not my best friend anymore, or I haven't played with this person. And, from a outside perspective, I'm thinking, oh, it's just, it's fine, you'll be best friends tomorrow. But then something deep within me remembers how I felt being 7, 8, 9 years old and being in this group of 3 girls and feeling like they weren't my friend anymore. And how I say this word lightly because, and you said it last time, it's like fate by design, but, what you feel is damaging in the moment makes you the person you are today. So like, it's all of that. It's so difficult, isn't it?
It's so hard. And I think you've hit the nail on the head about that fate by design thing, is that things happen for a reason. And you and I are quite similar in that, if something happens, I will always try and see that silver lining. As ever thin it may be.
It's basically see-through.
Basically. But I will try my hardest. And again, how do you explain that to the children? How do you get them to kind of like feel that there's always something that you can learn from it. There's always something you can take from it.
And as a parent, you don't want to belittle that as well, that feeling, because it's so genuine and it's real, that feeling of not feeling worthy of that friendship or feeling like you're being pushed out. Because like as adults, we know what it's like. Like, I try not to be precious about situations. And even if I feel like I've got lots of friends, like, there's something that still cuts a little deep when you find out one friend has done something with another friend and you haven't been invited. Like, the reality is I probably wouldn't have gone. I was busy that day. Like, it is nothing. But there is something about it that still just, cuts.
Honestly, Erin, that to me... Jealousy is okay. And this whole thing is that as long, how there's this whole thing about like, oh, you shouldn't be jealous. Don't be jealous of people. Don't judge people. Don't be jealous. Judging people, yes, no, don't judge people because it's their choices. They want to choose and do what they want to do. Being jealous, I think, and again, this is a Vix thing, so maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I would say, why shouldn't we be jealous? Of course, and as long as it comes from like a fairly healthy place, not like a evil let's murder you while you sleep place, like I can be jealous of you in it as long as I celebrate it as well. Okay. I can feel the envy and kind of like process that envy as long as I'm not being nasty, vindictive, bitchy to you. Like, and it's a very difficult thing because I think jealousy is a natural human trait. And again, I'm not a psychologist, so it could be that I need to go to therapy about this problem. But I really feel that, when your friends go and do something without you...
Do you feel like you have to then sometimes be secretive? Or do you feel like if you do something with somebody, you can openly say it to somebody else? Because I've had this situation before, like big... like wide group of friends or whatever, but there are naturally people that you do more with than others, and that's fine. Yeah. And actually, if you openly asked everybody in that group, they'd agree. But if you shared with that group that, I don't know, half of you done something, half of you didn't, half of you weren't invited, then it would be a problem.
So what is your responsibility in that scenario? This is the thing to challenge yourself on, from my perspective.
Right, okay, right. Before you start, how easy is it to organise something as an adult, right? We've got a doodle going, dates here, there and everywhere. You've got your WhatsApp chat. You've got your diary on hand, right? It's impossible to organise 2, let alone 6, 8, 10 people. If there is 4 people that can get together on one day, I'll take it. Because that's in one separate group chat. Whatever. Because that's in one separate group chat or one separate meeting in the school playground, whatever. Like, I'm then not going to sacrifice doing one thing with those 4 people because the other 4 people can't make that day. It's a bit like, okay, well, we'll do something and then we'll do something another day, whatever. But I've spent too many hours in these, like, ping pong groups going, oh, can you do this day? Can you do that day? Can you do that day? No. But you then don't do anything with anyone.
But why is that your responsibility to facilitate 8 people? This is my kind of thing about the jealousy thing. It's like, this is why it's okay to feel...
No one wants to miss out.
No one wants to miss out. I am the worst for FOMO.
Yeah.
For sure. And, you know, there's been events and things that I've wished I'd gone to, but in the reality of day, like, I couldn't do it because it would drain my cup so much that I knew it was not the right thing to do.
So question then, is it because you really wanted to go or you're worried that people didn't care you were there?
Oh, probably both. Probably both in a way, because I think particularly with, you know, you and some of the mums that we've kind of like formed a friendship group with, I love you guys so much and I love your energy and I love being with you. So it's kind of like there's a FOMO there. But then there's also a bit, because it's new, it's that fear, like we were saying about the response thing. Like, I don't want to miss out because I don't want you guys to kind of forget about me.
Yeah, you don't want to discount me from that group.
Yeah.
And that, like, so much feeds into so many different parts of my, like, life. Like, making friends is like, you feel like you've got to be there to be, you know, to be seen, to be accounted for.
Present. You've got to be present, haven't you? Yeah.
To be present. But then there's a lot to be said for when you're not there and people then say, oh, I wish she was here. And that almost has, like, more of an effect than if you were there, because people know what you would have been like had you have been there and they long for you to be there.
It's almost like there's a validation that you get in your absent, in that absent space, and it's almost like you need that recorded to validate you.
Because I know how I feel sometimes. Like, when people aren't at events, you think, oh my God, we would have loved if she was here or they were there or whatever. And that's almost like better.
Yeah, it's a really tricky one. And I think sort of it goes back to that interesting comment about, like, when we were saying about those life moments where you wish that person who wasn't in your life anymore was there. And how do you figure that out? How do you figure out your self-validation and also kind of sharing that moment with the people that you'd love to have there? I mean,
but that's
so
the thing.
hard.
You say sharing that with the people, but in this day and age, they're probably seeing it all over social media. And I sometimes wish that we didn't have that, because I think that is often the blocker to people reconnecting, because they're still a part of it, because they're still seeing it. They're not missing out. They're just observing.
That's a really interesting, like, aspect, actually, because so interestingly, there was an event happening in some of my friends. It was a birthday that I couldn't go to, and I was scrolling, I was seeking.
Okay.
I wanted to see someone posting about it, and nobody did. And I was like, no, I can't deal with this. Like, I can't be at the event. And I knew they were doing something super fun, and I was like, so gel I couldn't go, but I knew I shouldn't go because my mental well-being levels were not in any shape or form to go. But I was so wishing someone would post about it because I wanted to see it. So again, it's interesting what you're saying, because there is that sort of, it's not kind of justifying it, but I'm just saying I totally see what you're...
It's like voyeurism.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's like, I'm not there, but I want to watch it. I want to see what's going on. Make me feel good.
Yeah, you want to kind of be part of it in a way. And, you know, it's a very difficult thing to sort of balance, isn't it? If you've got the FOMO, but then you genuinely can't be there. And it's okay to say no if you know it'll impact you later on.
But those friendships that like I was certainly speaking about, Flo, like friendships from 10 years ago or even 20 years ago, I'm maybe not actively re-engaging with those people because time to time I'm seeing their stuff on socials, I'm seeing it on Instagram, I'm seeing it on Facebook or whatever. Like there isn't so much I need to catch up on.
So let me ask you this then. So do you feel, obviously you were talking about like the breakups, like these friendship breakups that you've been talking about from when you were very kind of young and, you know, everything sort of changed back then. Do you feel that because you've got social connections, obviously the platforms, you've got these social connections with people, do you feel more safe because you can see what they're doing and you feel like you're kind of connected? Or do you feel that that's kind of like you're saying, the voyeurism, like watching?
So I think it allows me to be nosy.
Okay.
So the questions that I maybe would ask of those people, if I wasn't seeing that, they're being like satisfied because I know what you're doing. I know you've got 2 kids. I know X, Y, and Z. But sometimes I feel like the social posts prompt me to ask them a question because it's an easy way in, because you can say, oh my goodness, I saw this adorable photo that you put on Instagram, blah, blah, blah. How are you? Whatever. So it's like a breakdown of that wall because somebody's put something out there. So it sort of takes away the awkwardness. So it's a bit of both. It's almost like a preventative, but it's also a gateway.
So have you ever gone, you know how I was saying about I was seeking this event that was happening, this birthday that was happening. Like, do you seek out, like, have you ever sought out an individual's sort of post just to purposely go, hi, love to meet up? Have you ever done that?
So I haven't done that, but I would say I have, you know, dedicated more time to people to try and like, I don't know, grow that friendship because they were doing things that maybe I wanted to do.
Or resonated with.
Yeah, maybe. A little bit maybe. But then I'm also looking at people just like observing like, oh, that looks fun, or that looks like a great life, or, you know, everything in between that is like the thing with socials now is like there's no secret. Like if you choose to put stuff out there, it's out there.
I completely agree. And do you know what's really interesting? I've made a real shift recently from, I'm very much a poster. I'll put my whole life on socials. And it's actually it is semi to share because I've got a big family and they always want to know what I'm doing and I love them and adore them and they want to know what I'm, they're just Nebby Noras. They want to know what I'm doing. Yeah. So they love it. They love seeing what we're up to. But then at the same time, there's part of me recently that's kind of gone, no, this is just for me. I'm not going to post this one. Or I don't post it on the day.
Yeah.
So, for example, Lawrence's birthday recently, you know, I didn't actually post it on the actual day, whereas normally I'd be straight in, you know, during the event, putting it on Facebook or, you know, Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and I'd be straight in kind of like sharing the moment live, real time. Whereas now I'm like, no, I'm just taking this for me right now.
Yeah.
And I really like that shift. I like the fact that I'm doing that because it gives me the choice.
Yeah, because who are you doing it for in that moment? You're doing it for other people. And I'm sick to death of doing stuff for the benefit of other people. I'll do things for me. So, you know, we've had the big social media chat already, but, you know, I'm not a social media user in the sense of I post stuff all the time. I'm merely an observer. And, like, fair enough, like I can't preach to anyone because I'm there absorbing everybody else's good memories and good times, but you know, for myself, like I really don't put stuff out there because I question why. You know, if I really care about you or I want you to see this, I'm going to send it to you, and I do that. I will send somebody on WhatsApp a picture, or I'll send a voice note, or I'll do something. Like, I don't need to put it out there for somebody else to see what an amazing life I have. And I do find myself, and like, look, I'll say this now, like, no shade to anyone that does this, but, you know, when I sit there on a weekend on Instagram stories and I'm looking at people posting their weekend, I'm thinking, why? Why are you showing me that you're in the supermarket? Why are you showing me that you're here? Like, who is that for?
That's the question, is who is it for? And is it okay if you feel you need to share that? Because some people may feel they need to share that for the right reasons.
No shade. And
no.
It's a big thing. It's just not for me. And it does feed into this friends thing. And maybe that is partly why I'm like that, because I feel so guarded about myself. I feel so guarded about the friends I have. And I want to make things special for the friends I have by showing them something that I'm not showing to the world and his wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's
a real balance, isn't there? Because I think there's some part of it where, through the discussions you and I had about this podcast, we wanted to bring to life the reality of what people think. And, you and I are kind of people who we're more than willing to share. And in turn, hopefully, the listeners and everybody who interacts with this podcast will hear a true, authentic voice of saying, hey, look, this happens to me too.
Yeah.
This is me, and don't worry about it. It's not just you. And that's what I think we really wanted this podcast to do, is to be here for other people, and as well as ourselves.
Yeah.
We're basically giving each other therapy.
It's like, this is real. Like, we've got to remember, like, we are totally in this. Like, have we got this? Have we not? Maybe we do, maybe we don't, sort of thing. And it's just making everybody feel like okay and normal with that, because like these chats, like, they're definitely not just us thinking about it. It's for everyone. And, we keep like harping on about like wanting to talk about things that other people want to talk about as well, and like things that resonate with people. So like we really do like actively encourage like people to get involved.
Yeah,
like
get in touch.
Send us a thought, send us a DM, like let us know like the things that you're talking about like with your friends as well, that we can debate, because like only by having these conversations do we all then feel more normal about these situations.
Completely. And I think it's been really nice, because we have had a few messages and we've had a few comments on our socials just saying, oh my God, this is me. Oh my God, I feel seen.
Yeah, I feel seen.
And that's exactly what we want.
Yeah, this conversation has been like exactly what I needed to hear right now. And that is actually how I feel every time we have these conversations. Babes. It's amazing. But it's a difficult one. I think friends will always be that challenging conversation, because people come and people go, and they mean so much to you like in that moment, and they really do influence like your life. But I think as long as you can take good things out of the friendships you have and just see it for what it is at the time.
And that's it. And trust in your own self that, people are there because they want to be with you.
Yeah.
And people will actively want to be with you. So again, if people disappear, like I keep having to remind myself, it's okay to feel sad still. And I'm not judging myself for being sad still that these two people that meant a lot to me have gone. But it still hurts. But it doesn't mean that, something somewhere has meant that person has gone, because then it opens a little space for a little errand to come in.
Everything happens for a reason. If that hadn't happened, maybe this wouldn't have happened. And that's it. So on that note, well, cheers.
Cheers, babe.
And I think we just need to remind all of our listeners, please follow, subscribe, like on our channels, because the more you guys follow, the more we can put out there, and we don't want you to miss any of the conversation.
No, and the key thing as well is to share with your friends and review us, because obviously that'll get us in front of more people. And let's hope that together as a group, we can all help inspire each other to feel we're all valid and we're all worthy of being here.
Yeah, we feel better together. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
See ya.